They knew that north was marked by the Congregationalists and south by the Unitarians. They lived in gray shingled houses with white trim. They could distinguish bay scallops, small, from sea scallops, big. They had learned to drive on roads with no traffic lights, no off-ramps or on-ramps, no exits. They were safe from axe murderers and abductors and rapists and car thieves, as well as the more insidious evils of fast food and Walmart and adult bookstores and pawn shops and shooting ranges. Some of us worried about sending these kids out into the wider world. Most of the seniors would go to college, Boston University or Holy Cross or, in Patrick Loom's case, Georgetown. But some would take a year off and ski and stow, and still others would remain on Nantucket and work, living lives not so different from those of their parents. We worried that the celebrations surrounding graduation weekend would lead our seniors to drink too much, have unprotected sex, experiment with drugs, or fight with their parents because they were 18, goddammit, and they could do what they wanted. We worried they would wake up on Monday morning believing that the best years of their lives were behind them. The electric buzz they had felt the last 4 autumns during the first Friday night football game under the lights when they ran out onto the field or led the crowd in cheering, those moments were gone forever. Next September, the Nantucket Whalers would play again. The weather would be crisp again. The air would smell like grilled hot dogs again. But there would be a new guard, and the seniors who were, as we watched now, walking across the stage for their diplomas, would be old news. Alumni. High school was over. There was a bittersweet element to June 16th, graduation day, and as we walked off the field at the end of the ceremony, some of us said we would never forget this one in particular, either because the weather had been so spectacular, or because Patrick Loom's speech had been so poignant. It was true that we would always remember graduation that year, but not for these reasons. We would remember graduation that year because it was that night, the night of June 16th, that Penelope Alistair was killed. What? The world cried out in disbelief. The world wanted the Nantucket that resided in their imagination. The icy gin and tonic on the porch railing, the sails billowing in the wind, ripe tomatoes nestled in the back of the farm truck. The world did not want a 17-year-old girl dead, but the world needed to know what we knew. Nantucket was a real place, where tragic things sometimes happened. Jake Randolph. Everything looked different from the air. There below him was Nantucket Island, the only home he'd ever known. There was Long Pond and the Maya Comet Golf Course and the patchwork acres of Bartlett Farm. There was the bowed white stretch of the South Shore. Already cars were lining up on the beach. Jake had spent every summer Sunday of his entire life on that very beach with his parents and the Alistairs and the Castles. They had body surfed and played touch football. They had hidden in the dunes. They had constructed forts out of boogie boards and beach towels in the back of Mr. Castle's pickup truck. Jake recalled the smell of charcoal, the marinated steak, the ears of corn dripping with herbed butter. There was always a bonfire and marshmallows and fireworks that Mr. Castle bought when he was away on business. Jake felt his father's hand on his shoulder, a cupping, a squeeze. This happened 4 or 5 times an hour now, his father touching him for no reason other than to reassure himself that Jake was still there. Jake picked out Hummock Pond Road, like a fortune teller reading a palm. It was the lifeline without life, the love line without love. The road ran due south from town. From the air, it was just a path cut through the pine forest. The cars traveling it looked like toys. Jake pressed his forehead against the vibrating window. The plane floated over Nantucket and Eel Point. Nantucket was receding. No, Jake thought. He felt tears sting his eyes. He was losing Nantucket. Tuckernuck was below them now, then Muskeget, its shores crowded with seals. Then the Yankee blue water of Nantucket Sound. If only he could jump out, land safely, swim back. So many terrible things had happened in the past 4 weeks, and one of those things was that which his parents had deemed to be the solution. They were running away from home.